Hello and welcome to Crafty Concepts with Erin. Today I'm going to show you how to put together this fun spinner card using our Feels Like Home stamp set. I'm going to trim this outer layer of cardstock to 8.5 by 5.5 inches. Next we will score at 4 1/4, which is directly in the middle of the cardstock, using my embossing stylus and my paper trimmer. I'll just go right down the middle and then fold in half. Go ahead and run your finger down to make sure that's a nice even crease. Here I already have a card that's scored in the middle that we will use for our inside, so trim it down to 5 1/4, and then we will score at 2 1/4 inch from each side, using the same method that we did on our first piece of cardstock. This is going to be the inside of our spinner card, so go ahead and fold on those creases, and it makes an M shape there, so when we put it inside it will pop open. I've used my 2-inch thin cut circle, and now I'm going to use this Feels Like Home stamp. There's a wreath there that we will use to stamp around the circle that we've cut into our cardstock. I'm using a gray color that is no longer available, however it would be very close to the heather color. Moving on, I'm going to use this little floral piece, and I'm stamping in the lagoon and just working my way around the card here, adding color. So it's going to look like one of those wreaths that's only on half of the circle, kind of coming out from one corner. Next I'm going to use these two little tiny flowers, and then we'll just add this pink color here. Again, this is one I've had around for a long time, but the ballerina would be a good match for this if you want to repeat the color scheme that I'm doing here on this card. Using the same pink color, I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper and just make 3 little hearts that I will fussy cut out to add to my wreath. I'll just go ahead and do the first one here, but then finish the others off camera so you don't have to watch me go through that process. So there you have the 3 fun little hearts, and now there is this floral stamp that I will also fussy cut out from this scrap piece of white paper. And then I have my sugar plum shimmer brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and color in this flower. So it adds some nice color. The shimmer brush adds some sparkle to the embellishment as well, which is really pretty. So I'm going to use some glue dots, which are a little bit too big for these hearts, so I'll just kind of fold over the edges and then go ahead and place them around the wreath kind of randomly. If you notice, I only have 3 hearts, and that's because I like to do things in odd numbers. Groups of 3, 5, or 7 just tends to be more pleasing to the eye than if you were to have an even number of embellishments. So this has had just a few moments to dry, so we can go ahead and cut it out. These micro tip scissors are perfect for the fussy cutting. They just help you to get in all those little tight spaces. So using some foam tape, we're going to pop this little flower up just to give it a little dimension and height from the rest of the card, and put it kind of just slightly overlapping the circle. We don't want anything too far in because it'll get in the way of our spinner. So this was the January stamp of the month, and it has the sentiment "Get well soon." And this is a card that I'm sending to my sister who just had surgery, and I wish I could be with her, but unfortunately she lives on the other side of the country. So for now I'm just going to send her this fun card. I've flipped the cardstock over, and I'm using a piece of thread to tape down into the crease here, and this is what is going to hold our spinner in the center of the window. So any strong adhesive will work. You can use washi tape or anything of that nature. This is some red line craft tape I have here. So then we'll just trim off the excess pieces. I've cut these two hearts out on my Cricut cartridge, so I'll apply the tape runner and then center that in the circle so the thread is going directly through the center, and then tape up the other side and then join them together there. Anything will work in this center as long as it's symmetrical. So then you can see how that fun element just kind of spins there. So when you open up the card, it will spin around. You want to be generous with the adhesive. It'd be really sad if they opened the card and something had shifted along the way. So be sure to cover all the edges well, and then it is easiest if you just keep it folded here, apply adhesive to the opposite side, and then close the card like so. So spin it up and then close it, so when they open it up you have a fun little surprise there. We're going to decorate the front of the card similar to the inside. So I have this white cardstock that I've cut another 2-inch circle in, and we're going to repeat the process for the front cover of the card. So again, I'm just going to offset my wreath stamp and then continue with my 3 heart embellishments, and then we'll just work around the wreath, adding the sprigs of greenery kind of randomly throughout. You just want it to look like it's all originating from the lower left hand corner. So there really is no right or wrong way to stamp this. You can add as much or as little as you like. So here is our flower stamp, and then again we will use the Sugar Plum shimmer brush to color this in. These are fun. They're kind of a paintbrush tip, and they're just really easy to work with. And the Sugar Plum is our color of the year, so you'll want to add that to your collection for sure. So here you can see we're just going to center our front piece right there, so we have a nice even border around the outside. And then I'm going to use this thinking of you sentiment. So I'm only going to stamp half of it, because instead of on one line I kind of want one over the other, which you'll see here in a moment. So you want to be sure to blot off the excess ink, because now we're just going to use the of you part of the stamp and just put it right underneath there. So again, we're going to use our 3D foam tape to pop up this little flower on the lower left corner. And then we will add our hearts using the glue dots just like we did on the inside. I'm overlapping them just slightly onto the green, which we don't have to worry about it getting in the way of anything here, but I think it just kind of helps everything look like it belongs together. Okay, so here is the finished card. And again, just remember to spin up your little spinner inside before you close the card. So when the recipient opens it up, they get this nice little fun surprise. I will leave a list of the items I used and their links in the description. So if you like this video, be sure to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. And thank you so much for watching. Jump on over to my blog at craftyconceptswitherin.com for more tips, tricks, and inspiration. See you next week.